Alright guys, so we're in week 7 now of basic ballistics at SDI. And for this week's assignment, we're going to be talking about chronographs. We've been talking about reloading for the last couple weeks, and when it comes to reloading, people do it for different reasons. Some people just want to be able to save some money and crank out as many rounds as possible. So they do it for that reason, but other people, like competition shooters, they reload because they want the most precise bullet possible, and they're, obviously you're going to do better quality control on your own rounds and ammunition than a factory would. So for this topic, like I said, we're going to be talking about chronographs, and what chronographs do is essentially they measure velocity of a bullet. There's a couple different types. There is one that's called a shoot through, and it basically just kind of looks like a long, almost like a brick type thing, and it has what looks like old school TV antennas up around it. And what you do is you set that one out approximately 10 feet from where you plan on firing it, and the objective is to shoot the round through those two little antennas, and that'll give you a measurement. Some disadvantages, if you're not the best shooter, you might end up shooting your chronograph and damaging it, but hopefully that doesn't happen. But what this does is it just gives you an accurate reading of what your velocity is. Another one is called a magnetospeed chronograph, and unlike the shoot through, what you do with this one is you pretty much attach it to the muzzle, the barrel of the gun, and it gets a more accurate reading. It gets a velocity reading as soon as it shoots out the muzzle. The shoot-through method is a little bit older. The magneto method is more modern technology. But the difference between them, because one's set up about 10 feet away and the other one's just right out of the muzzle, there usually is a 5 to 10 foot per second differential between the two, if you were to compare the two readings, which it's kind of incredible to think 10 feet isn't that much, but to think that it drops that much in feet per second just from that distance, the trajectory. But when it comes to hand loading, if you want to just pump out a bunch of rounds, I'm not sure how, just to test out your load, this would be important to use a chronograph, because you want to make sure that your velocity is at with the measurements and the loading calculations that you did. I think it comes in more into play though when it comes to like precision shooting and long distance ranges, because you want to make sure that your bullet is traveling at your desired velocity. Because if you think about it, a car that's going faster takes longer to slow down, right, than a car that's going slower will slow down, will come to a complete stop faster. So when you're a precision shooter shooting long ranges, you want to make sure that your trajectory is going to be at the perfect amount so that you can maintain and shoot on target. So that's pretty much what the chronographs are for. Like I said, it's for measuring velocity of the loads that you make and making sure that you test them out and that they have the desired velocity that you want for the measurements of powder and things like that you used. And that's about it. That's what you got on chronographs.